The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to, taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Hi, folks. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle. Happy Friday, and this is a place where we analyze and deconstruct the latest news pertaining to your health, fitness, and diet, where we break down what we hear and read and see if it makes sense to us. And, of course, we encourage your participation by, number one, getting our Health Signals newsletter, where you can get lots of information about this, and also calling us at 877-927-6648. I'm Nico Haan.
And I'm Paige Clarke.
And it's a beautiful day in downtown Clearwater.
And it's your birthday.
Yes, thank you.
Happy birthday, Nico.
Thank you. And it's 86 degrees.
It's a beautiful day.
Sun shining.
And we're enjoying our little bit of a fall touch in the air and feeling good. So I'm excited to be here with you on your birthday.
Well, thank you.
And we got a big party happening tonight.
We got a party at my house tonight. So any local people you might be interested in dropping by, give me a little shout. You can give me an email at nico@tfnn.com, and I'll send you the address, and you're welcome to stop by. We're starting like at 7:30 and going to who knows when.
Nice.
But I'm going to take it easy. I'm not going to drink too much, but I'll drink a little bit.
Yeah. Sure.
Have a good time.
And I just have to tell you something. I'm sure for those of you that don't know, this is your big 7-0.
7-0.
7-0. And as I sit here, it's just very hard to believe.
Really?
I look at you, I would never think you were 70. And a lot of that has to do with, a lot of the people that I see. I mean, there are some people that are in your same age bracket that I feel are much older, not just in body, but mind, spirit, everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. That's real nice. I've also got some nice cards from people. Some people, naturally my clients, but also some clients of other people that come in and see me. And the cards have nice little notes on it. And I like what you're doing. I can see you exercising. And, so they see, the dedication I have with what I'm doing, and that I'm really serious about it, and I'm serious about health. I'm serious about keeping me healthy, but also kind of spreading the news. And today I really kind of wanted to all week I've been kind of rethinking about what I've been doing.
You've been reflective on your life.
Yeah,
and
reflective.
What you
That's really the word. Yeah, so I thought I'd just go through the whole thing of where I was born, and just go through the progression and how my thinking has changed and what I've been doing, for my life to make me where I am, and thinking about what the future is for me. So
I'd love to have that.
Okay,
hear that.
so a lot of people don't know, of course, that I was born in the Netherlands, in Holland. Mm-hmm. I was born in 1944 in what they call the beginning of the hunger winter.
Okay.
And the reason that it was the second year of the occupation of the Netherlands by the Nazis, and it was really hard, I think, for people. What my dad told me is that all the trees were gone because people had been using that for fire.
Wow. Because
the gas was off, there was no electricity anymore, and all the furniture and everything, people were burning for fuel.
Actually burning their furniture to keep warm.
To keep warm. Yeah. My dad was actually a member of the police force in The Hague. And when the war came, he began doing stuff with the underground. So he was part of the underground in Holland, the freedom fighters. And he was kind of a unique guy because he thought that he had to do that. He had to help people. And basically his job at the police station was ferrying people back and forth to the jails, to the bigger jail. So they had a small little jail, but then they would take people, and mostly a lot of times they were prostitutes, and a lot of times they were people maybe that he knew, but people they were just putting in jail for whatever reason they were. If and I don't know, but they find reasons for you to lock you up, just like they're doing now in this country.
Today.
Of course, in every country they do that. But in Holland they were doing that, and my dad would, he told me a tale of a couple of prostitutes, and there weren't cars in those days like here. I mean, there were, but he was a cop on a bicycle.
Right.
So his job was to take these two women who were, one was like 16, one was 18, and they were hookers, and of course they were trying to make a living, just surviving the war. I mean, who wouldn't? And so, of course, he let them go, and what would happen is my dad would go in the underground then. He would disappear. And he would disappear for maybe 2 weeks or maybe a month or more until the new commandant would come in. And it happened about every month. They would have a new commandant come in to take charge, and they never conversed. Just a new guy was there, so Nico would show up again. So everybody knew when a new commandant was there, Nico would show up again. And
here's Nico. The same name as you.
Yeah, he was a Nico also. Yeah, in fact, I was called Nick for many years in my youth, because so they could tell the difference between me and my dad. So, in fact, I got a little picture here of me when I was young. So this is me, like in the first grade.
You haven't changed.
Yeah, just a few more wrinkles here and there. But so I was born there in Holland, and I remember kindergarten. And that was a real fun time. And then I remember the kind of shock going into the first grade. Because in the first grade, you had assigned seats. And I was still used to sitting anywhere I wanted. So I was one of those kids, never listened to the teacher. I'd be sitting everywhere. No, no, no. You have to sit in this seat. This is your seat now. I go, what? What kind of crazy stuff is this? So that's how the progression goes. But about halfway through I think it was like the summer of, I was going in the second grade, my dad took off and went to Canada. He was trying to get us either to Canada or United States or Australia. Australia was kind of far. United States was hard to get into, but Canada was accepting immigrants at that time.
And he wanted to get you out of there.
And he wanted to get out of Europe after the war, and he just thought that someday there's going to be more problems in Europe because of the mindset of the European people.
What do you mean, their mindset?
Well, the mindset of the Europeans was basically, and the way I look at it now, is when we discover something new, we make it ours. It's kind of like what they did to America, the whole North American continent.
Okay, we came over to the American Indian,
and there was paradise, and there were tribes here, but they were uncivilized.
So we needed to set them straight.
We needed to set them straight with speak our language, look like we do, wear the clothes that we do. We're going to educate the way we do, and we're going to force the religion on you. Whatever the religion is. There's so many. So that's kind of what my dad was thinking, and he came about 3 months before my mother and my sister and myself, and he flew over.
To Canada, though.
To Canada.
Right?
Yeah. And 3 months later, we were shipped over on a big boat. So we had a sea voyage. It was kind of cool. My sister was bringing, she says, you have to learn how to count to 10, and we have to learn how to say hello and goodbye. So we were practicing that. Yeah, so we were studying, and, of course, I'd go on the street talking to somebody, and it'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, kind of crazy stuff. But my sister was way ahead of me. She was 2 years older, so she had a little more knowledge of what. Right. But I remember one time my sister and I would, on Saturdays, always go to the movie theater together. She always showed me these movies, and I was brought up in the Bing Crosby movies because that's what my sister loved, and she loved dancing. She was into ballet and stuff at that time, so any dancing movies or anything like that. But I remember walking down the street one time, I see this red thing with like a lever on it, and I couldn't read English, so I'm looking at this thing, and I pulled the darn thing, it was a fire alarm. So pretty soon we're standing there, and my sister says, don't touch that stuff, and pretty soon the fire engine comes around, and my sister's trying to hide me, she knew what I did, and so finally one of the people in the street said, this guy did it, the Dutch kid.
The Dutch. Do you still remember your native tongue?
I speak a little bit, but
it's like anything else. If you don't use it, you lose it.
My parents really wanted for us to speak English. Yeah. So when we were alone at home, they would speak English because they wanted to learn too. So they encouraged us English. But of course, when my aunt and uncle came over, then all the Dutch would come out. And of course, I still understand Dutch pretty well, depending on the accent.
So if you were over there, you could kind of make your way a little bit.
Well, I've never been back, but my sister, when she went back for the first time, she said it took me about 3 days, and then I was sitting on the bus going someplace, and all of a sudden, I started speaking Dutch. Like I've always spoke Dutch. It was interesting, and I was wondering if that would happen to me. So I went through elementary school in northern Canada in Sudbury, which is above the Great Lakes. Great time of my life. I was always playing and going to school, skiing to school in the wintertime.
You ski to school?
Yeah, skied to school. And we had just enough time during recess to go up the hill and ski back down. And you could see all the skis lined up there at the school because all the kids did that. So it was very cool. During the summer times, of course, swimming and fishing, going on vacation with my dad and my grandfather and the whole family, really. And we go out there in the boat and start bass fishing and pickerel fishing. And those were just some of the great memories that I have. It was, I was going to high school, just starting high school, and we moved to a place called London, Ontario, great little town, and I went to high school there. We moved around a lot, so I was in different schools. I was in one school called London Central, then I was over in the South London School. And
what did your dad do that you had to move around a lot?
He was a salesman. You know, when we were in Sudbury, he was working in the mines. That's one of the first good-paying jobs that he had. And I remember my uncle and him hitchhiking up to Sudbury to try to find these jobs, and then, of course, we all came later. But it allowed him and my mother to buy their first home, which was after about 4 or 5 years of working in the mines. Then my dad says, well, now I can go do another job. And he started in sales, started with insurance companies, Mutual of Omaha. In fact, he was really one of the great salespeople there. And at one time, they won a trip to Florida in Fort Lauderdale. And so my mother and him went to Fort Lauderdale, and that's when my dad decided, and this was like 1958, I think it was, and decided that he was going to someday retire in Florida because he really loved the heat and loved the way
nice
Florida was, especially in
Canada.
the 50s. Yeah. So it was around, I was going through high school in London, Ontario, and my dad, it was kind of like a depression time in Canada in the early 60s. So my dad got a call from a friend of his from the old insurance business, and he says, I got some work here in this furniture store in downtown Detroit. He says, you can make just a lot of money there. So my dad went over there, and the guy would sponsor him to come to America. And he worked in this furniture store, which was kind of really, it was called Rogers Furniture. It was a real high end where like the real affluent people like the Jewish and the real affluent black people would go there and buy their furniture. And he just sold a lot of furniture. And then my mother and myself, my sister at that time was going to beauty school, doing her own thing. So my mother and myself and my dad lived in Detroit, outskirts of Detroit, and I was getting ready to go to the 13th grade in Canada. But I had enough credits here in the United States that I could go to college if I just took a couple of English classes and my civics and econ classes. So I did that during the summer. And then I think I had to go through December, and then January I could start my college.
Nice.
Yeah, I went to a community college for a year and a half, and then I switched over to University of Michigan. So,
this is great. I love learning about where you came from and where you're going.
So the number here is 877-927-6648. Give us a call. Look up my Health Signals newsletter, please, and we'll continue this little journey of Nico to Haan right after the break. Right back.
You've heard Nico de Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
with the launch of Tiger TV. TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pesavento, Andy Hecht, Think or Swim, or Terrell Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
Andy Hecht's powerful weekly newsletter, the Technomental Commodity Report, has delivered multiple triple-digit winning trades in recent months. And right now's the perfect time to get a full month-long trial to Andy's newsletter with no obligation to pay anything. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Technomental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you'll lock in the low rate of only $59 a month. Sign up right now for the Technomental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico and Paige here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. Some comments in the chat room about Primal Edge, and we'll give you an update at another segment in the show. But we wanted to kind of talk about my birthday and my inspirations and stuff. Now, on the telestrator here, we've got some of the pictures of me and my family here in the north.
That looks like cold winter.
Yeah. It was actually in the spring here of me fishing, of course.
Yeah.
This is one of the nice basses I caught when I was young.
Check out that car or truck that you've got.
Yeah. This is when I started playing guitar. And, one of the big influences in my life was right after college. I reconnected with one of the guys I met in high school, Rick Warner. We've been buddies ever since the first day we started really chatting.
Where did you go to college?
I went to college first at Highland Park Junior College, then I switched to the University of Michigan in 1966. He was in the Air Force at that time, so about 1970, I think it was around my 30th birthday, somewhere around there, so maybe 28th birthday or something like that, he came to my house and we started talking, and he was always playing guitar, so he brought his guitar and was playing some songs, always songs that he wrote, and I said, man, you should be on stage. I says, I'm going to manage you. So I went out to a few bars and got him a job, and he started working at these little different places, and we always hung around with these people people that were just outside of town, and it was a kind of a farmhouse that a couple of guys had rented. And it was kind of like a commune, and this was, of course, 1969, 1970, 71, 72, and people were in there cooking. I met my buddy Ron, who had called a few weeks back.
Eating
macrobiotic diets, and there was always beautiful girls there, and everybody was drinking. A lot of them were taking acid and smoking pot,
making love,
not war, and it was a great time. And that's when I really started thinking about music. And I had told my buddy Rick, I says, I'm going to start playing some music. And one day he came by where I was working, and he bought me a guitar. He says, "This is your first guitar." And I'd give him like $100, and he says, "Here's $10 back." He bought me this nice little Gibson LGO for $90 in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It was really cool. So there's a picture of me playing one of my guitars at New England Oyster House in West Palm Beach, and that's when my career. This is one of my favorite cars that I had. It was a 1966 International Scout.
Oh, I love those cars.
Yeah, so I used that to really
But how did you end up in Florida?
I ended up in Florida after, I got married. I was still in college, and we had 3 kids together, 2 beautiful daughters, and just a handsome, growing, taller than me, my son David. I'm so proud of him, and he's got a beautiful family, and they all have gorgeous, gorgeous children. And, one of my regrets in life was kind of leaving them when my oldest was 8 years old. It was like 1974, 75. I was 74. I just wanted to go in a different direction than my wife was going. And we had talked about it a lot, and I think it came kind of a shock to her, but I just needed to get out of that relationship and kind of start over again. And I traveled around for a whole summer with my buddy Ron. We went to California. We went out west for a while, and finally I left there, and I says, I'm running out of money. I better go someplace. And I went to Florida, and that's where my sister and my parents were living.
Your dad had said he was going to retire there.
He was going to be retired there, so I called him up, and I says, I'm coming to Florida to visit with you guys. And so I kind of just stayed, and my sister was running this universal health spa thing where the women were one day and the men would go the other day. So she says, I'm doing the day, and I could use somebody to supervise, so that's when I first started thinking really about exercise. And then I would play in clubs at night, playing guitar. And it was I did that for about a year and a half or so, and I really needed to give myself a really good job, And there weren't really many available. And one of the first places I went to was this undercoating. They said we need a manager to do the undercoating of cars, And I says, well, I don't want to be crawling underneath that car undercoating it. But that's the first thing they did. They shoved this big suit on me to protect me, and then spraying this black stuff was going in the shields, and it was hot under there. And I said, man, I don't know if I can do this, But I stayed with that company for about 3 or 4 years.
Why did we have undercoatings in cars in Florida?
Because of the salt air.
Oh, I thought it was actually more the salt from the
No, they
snow
actually would not only undercoat it, but also the upper panels were all coated from the inside. It was.
Nobody does that anymore.
I think they still do, but it's less and less.
Or something.
Yeah, they do it at the factory more. But it was a good, steady job, and I was making pretty good money. It still allowed me to play at night, and that was cool. And then I found another job with this company. It was a pest control company, and I was hired. I had gone through management training and stuff like that, so they hired me as their general manager, and then they were bought out years later by Waste Management. And Waste Management started training me as a field operative, kind of where you'd go in and help the people on the phone establish a regime and help the managers with their salespeople and show them really how to excel in sales. And I had all those influences from my dad, teaching that, and that's really how I started training people. And then we'll go into
and then you got into that whole field of
and I'll start explain how that happened. We'll be right back, folks.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped, and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Paige, Clarke, and I'm with Nico Haan, and we're celebrating Nico's birthday day.
Yeah, big 7-0.
And we're learning the whole story.
So we were, I was in Florida and was playing out, and here's some pictures of Rick and I screwing around on playing guitar at his place. We were practicing. You can see the Happening Dude T-shirts. We were known as the Happening Dudes.
Yeah.
This is a trip we made to Michigan, and I thought that was kind of a cool shot to have. Mm-hmm. And here's us playing in Sarasota back in like 1988. We were playing downtown Sarasota. We have playing our original tunes and also having a little comedy act. I would be the straight guy and he would be the clown, and I'd ask him questions and he'd come up with these things. One time he says, I'm self-unemployed. I said, self-employed? He says, yeah, I had a serious talk with myself. I was getting too lazy. And I said, you have to really straighten up. He says, I decided to go on my own, and now I'm unemployed, but I'm self-unemployed. He says, so we had little acts like that, so it was always fun. This is a picture of my daughter. I had lived in California, and she was living there, and we had roomed together, and yeah, she's a beautiful girl.
How old were you there? In 1993?
That was 1992, something like that.
20 years ago.
These are pictures. There was a lot of spaces where I had no pictures. This is in Joshua Tree Monument.
Oh, wow.
Me playing in Las Vegas, and the Happening Dudes album cover.
Happening Dudes.
This is when my dad died. Picture, so these are random kind of pictures.
What beach are you at? Oh,
this is St. George Island. This is where my mother was also laid to rest. We cremated everybody. My sister, who just passed last November. Yeah. So this is my wedding day with my wife. So
beautiful.
Let's go on. We were talking about I had moved to Florida, and before that, my inspirations really came after college. And doing a lot of reading, and some of the first thing, my inspiration was always my father, because he had all these cool sayings. One of his sayings was always that, how lucky can I be? He always asked himself that question, how lucky can I be? And he always came up with these cool answers. I'm so lucky because of my children, and blah blah blah. And
so he was a glass half full, not a glass half empty guy.
Always looked at the bright side of everything. Well, here's how you can improve the situation you're in now, that type of thing. He had a saying that I think because I asked him about religion and stuff like that, and the only churches we ever gone to had been churches that my friends had gone to, and I'd hang around with them. Some of them I thought were cool, some of them were a lot stricter. And I asked my dad about religion. He says, "Well, my feeling is there's a religion for every person on earth." Because every story is a little bit different, we interpret it different, so that says to me that it can't be the same as somebody else's. So he says those people who are looking at that religion, it's not really theirs, they're kind of taking on somebody else's, but they have their own version deep inside. And I thought that was all kind of cool. Of course, influences like the music that I was listening to and talking about freedom, and this was the 60s, of course. We were promised all the freedoms and everything, and as soon as Kennedy kind of left office there, suddenly things kind of changed, and we felt like, with Kent State and things happening like that.
He was the last president that actually stood up for that. Kind of secret creature.
Yeah, him and Eisenhower too.
Yeah.
When you hear some of Eisenhower's speeches, he was warning people about the corporate corruption that was, into the government. But Kennedy actually limited it.
Yeah, he was stopped
sure.
because they wanted to make an example.
Yeah. So then, one of my other big influences was J. Krishnamurti, who wrote many books, and most of the books were answering questions. And I fell in love with his stuff because of the way he dissected. He says, let's not look at what belief you have, look at what belief does to you and how the mind works with belief, because we all, believe things. I mean, he says, when you're looking at this beautiful sunset or a tree, your memory of that is not that. It's a different version of it. And so this kind of got me into deep thought. He says, when you see something, then you attach a word to it. And then when you attach the word to it, that really changes that thing, that tree. You just picture a tree. It might be a birch tree that you grew up with, or a pine tree if you grew up someplace else. It depends on where you first saw a first tree, or the great memory of the tree, or great memory of the sunset, or the beautiful girl.
You'll attach a smell to it too.
No doubt about it. Everything is involved in that. So that really influenced me a lot and changed my whole thinking, because I had read a lot of the Bible, a lot about Jesus' teaching, and then I read about Muhammad, I read about the Buddha, and all these influences said, they're kind of really talking about the same thing in a different manner. That's the way I kind of took it. And
just the way Jay Maturity has said.
Yeah. He says, he really is talking about how the mind works, and that is really important to me, because you really have to empty yourself. When in your meditation, that's what we try to do. We try to get rid of the words, because the words, and if you watch your mind, you can see it just going around and around, and until you understand the paradox, it doesn't stop until you see the paradox of it, and then it kind of get that
That's
release.
That's a beautiful way to explain it.
Well, it's the way I explain it, and that's helped me through life. Because then I can, when negative things happened, or the thinking about me leaving my children, I start thinking, okay, what can I do now? And that kind of changes the perspective of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I don't, I'm not going to burden myself with all the crap that I did do and all the mistakes that I made, because if I start focusing on that, I become a nervous wreck. So I want to focus on, what can I do from here? How can I learn from that? And every mistake is kind of a learning experience, kind of like what Jiu-Jitsu taught me.
Right.
It's that you're losing, but you're really winning, because now you can do another movement, that type of thing. So, going from Michigan, from Canada first, and then to Michigan, and then finally in Florida. And during the years, of course, I love to travel. So I've been to Alaska and to Mexico, and mostly doing four-wheel drives. One of my favorite thing was going always to the Death Valley and things like that, and discovering the ghost towns there. Had some friends that did that, so I was always looking for that type of thing. And when I go on vacation, I always try to do some activity, like climb a mountain or go for long hikes or go fishing or whatever it is.
In other words, wherever you're vacationing, you want to be part of the experience.
I want to be in nature.
Right.
So I want to do that, and I want to do something physical. And, that kind of... taught me a lot. And my dad, who was, the big influence, he says one of the most powerful things you can tell yourself is, I don't know. Mm-hmm. One of the things that he always said, I don't know. When I asked him a question, he says, let's go back to that, I don't know. Now, how can we discover?
Right. In other words, saying I don't know is just an admission that you need more information.
No doubt about that. And it doesn't stop you from the investigation, because as soon as you tell yourself, well, this is the way it is, then the investigation's over. And I always want to be in that investigation mood. So another thing that he always told me was about women. When I was growing up, he told me the bird and the bees boring story, And he says, well, it's a wonderful experience. And of course, never having experienced anything like that, how can you connect to that? So he says, the best thing I can tell you is when you're young, get the advice of older women. He says, when you're older, get the advice of the younger women. Oh, okay. That made sense. So I did date quite a few girls when I was in my 16, 17. They were always a little bit older than me. And instead of trying to be aggressive, I wanted to say, what can you teach me? So I had this girl when I was 15, and she was 16 years old. And I said, well, what can you teach me about kissing and about what they call necking in the movie theater and stuff like that? And I got the answers I wanted, so that was kind of cool. And as I got older, I wanted to learn more about sex, and I says, I'm really inexperienced. And I wouldn't talk to the guys about it. I would talk to the girls, because with the guys, it's always that schlep talk, that you got to do this, you got to do that, and this is what
probably
you do.
Probably embellished with a little bit of stuff
always,
that never happened.
Yeah, stuff that never happened to any of us. We were always telling. So with the girls, you could get an honest answer, and I always got in the better conversation with women, and I think I was on a different level.
And you were close with your sister too, so you already
I was very close to my sister, and she helped me a lot, and she always told me how to be gentle with everything you do with a woman.
And she probably taught you how to dance.
And, well, my dad, actually, he was, when we first moved to Canada, he took on many jobs. I mean, one of them was cleaning, like, office buildings with my mother. Right. And they would take us along. So I was doing the ashtrays and the garbage pails, and my sister was, waxing the top of the desks, and then all the big heavy stuff my mother and dad did.
Wow.
But one of the other things he did was teach them wrestling and judo and teach folk dancing. So all the traditional dances from Holland he would be teaching, and he got students at night. And so I learned the folk dances, and we actually performed as a family in the Sudbury Arena once, and I have some pictures of that. I don't think I have it on the Facebook thing, but it was, it was really cool. My grandfather built the little, was actually a replica of a windmill that we put on the stage there, and then we do the dances, and it was, of course, cool to have my grandfather and everybody there, and then the younger people, and so we put that on for the Sudbury Arena. I have an uncle who was married to a dancer, Tina, and so a lot of influence from that, too. So I loved dancing a lot and did a lot of dancing through my teens and stuff, and the rock and roll, and I was always in, like, a little dance contest with my girlfriend, and we won a lot of, not big prizes, but was recognized a little bit.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, I was working for this large corporation, which was Waste Management, and they really trained us well. I mean, we were 6 months on the road, going from different offices, being trained by these people who were experts, not only in sales, but how to influence people, how to do public speaking, and went to Tony Robbins seminars and Stephen Covey seminars.
Wow.
And this was all in the 80s, early 90s, and so they prepped us for being these trainers who would go from office to office in your district.
So they were training the trainers.
We were training the trainers. And so then I said, I can do this on my own. So I formed my own company, which is called Performance Training Institute. And I would go around to different companies in Florida. And then one day I got a call from this company out in California, and they said, we want to bring you out here. So I went out over there, and my daughter was living out there at the time, and I thought, boy, that's really a good way to reconnect with my daughter, Kelly. And so I went out there and got the job and lived out there for 2 years under this contract, and got to travel all around California, spending a week in San Francisco, spending a few days down in San Diego, and we were based out of Pasadena, California. So I got to really travel California. It was a good gig. Then when that ended, I moved back to Florida.
And then that's when you met Ellen.
Yeah, I met her shortly after that. It was at a retreat I was doing. And it was like a business retreat, and one of my good buddies, Michael Pontrelli, introduced us. He says, "Oh, you heard me talk about Nico Haan," and he kind of stepped back, and I was standing there, and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and I said, "Oh, neat gal," you know. And then we started talking, and I invited her to lunch, and we went to this lunch on Hutchinson Island. And it was cool because this guy was playing guitar, just kind of songs I would be playing, and we had a little lunch and we chatted about, and she was closer to my age than the women I had been dating. You know, she was 2 years younger than me, and boy, I felt like I'd known her for thousands of years.
Probably have.
And probably have.
Right.
Exactly. So that was really cool. And I mean, it was a week later. I says, we're going to spend the rest of our lives together.
That's what you told me. I remember you telling me that. It was like you told her that.
Yeah, and I didn't know what I was doing, really. I was just going with the flow.
Right.
I says, you know, one thing I've learned, when things feel right, you do it.
Right.
And you go.
That's instinct.
It's kind of an instinct, yeah. And, you know, that's when I met her, and we've been together ever since, almost 20 years now.
Right.
And she is my soulmate.
Yeah.
And we get along so well, and we discuss things. We're of the same spiritual mind, same physical mind, just a really deep connection. I just love her so much, and my kids love her, and they always say, you know, when years ago when we met and they got to know her a little bit, she said, my daughter Kelly said, you know, you're the best thing that ever happened to my father. And all the kids really say that. Yeah,
the yin and the yang, the completion,
yeah, definitely.
Positive, the negative.
So that was a huge thing, and my kids love her just like their mother. It's just, you know, what more blessings could you want than that?
Yeah, I always say love multiplies, it doesn't divide.
Yeah.
So if we can have those kind of family situations and you view everything as a gift, you know, that you're adding to the love. You know, it doesn't mean broken families don't always have to mean taking away.
So while I was out in California working with this company, I kind of was introducing the aspect of physical exercise along with the mental stuff we were doing to try and improve these salespeople and these managers and these service people in this company. So my idea was always to set up a little shop, a little building that was connected to it, and open up a little gym where they could actually do that. And of course the evidence for that is that the people are much happier with what they're doing, and of course less sick days and things like that. So the investment was great, and that's when I came back to Florida. I said, okay, I want to really do the more physical part of that, because I've always been a runner. For 30 years I was running on the street doing my 6Ks, 5Ks, 10Ks, 30Ks, doing a couple of marathons and things like that. And as I got older, I could feel the downside of that was wearing out the joints a little bit. So I had to start really thinking about you know, exercise in a different way. And I was working at that time with Lucian McDonald, who invented this great machine that I still use.
Yeah, those are fascinating.
Yeah,
if you ever have a chance to come in Nico's studio, I guess we got to go for a break in a second. But if you know, do you have any pictures of those machines?
Yeah, I'll see if I can bring one up.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's about it. The number here is 877-927-6648, and we'll talk about the Primal Edge a little when we get back.
Daryl Martin coined the phrase diagnostic trading, and we're happy to announce that his diagnostic box spread analyzer has finally been released. The Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer helps you easily identify the best box spreads on Nadex in seconds, plus you receive access to the diagnostic deviation levels, as well as step-by-step training videos teaching you how to trade Nadex spreads so you can quickly master the mechanics of this simple yet powerful trading instrument. By pulling live data from the Nadex exchange, the diagnostic box spread analyzer does all the math for you, calculating risk, reward potential, distance to break even for both outright spreads and spreads used to hedge the underlying market. Visit the front page of TFNN.com today to get your 2-week free trial to Daryl Martin's Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer and gain access to the valuable information it can provide when trading the Nadex box spreads.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders, take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
Up next, the Diagnostics Trading Hour with Daryl Martin here on TFNN.
We have a caller on the line, Wayne from Littleton, California. Hi, Wayne.
Nico, Wayne Sorensen, how you doing?
Doing excellent,
Hey,
man.
Wayne.
Hi, Paige. Hey, I just wanted to call and say have a happy birthday. You're a very, very special person.
Well, thank you.
I've known you for, 4 or 5 years, ever since your first broadcast.
From the first broadcast, yes.
You've changed my life, and I'm healthy and pain-free, and it's all account to you and Paige. So,
well, that's the best birthday present I could ask for, really.
No, that's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day. Enjoy yourself, and many thanks for myself and my family, and then so many people in your listening audience.
Oh, thank you. That's very awesome.
So
thank you very much.
I love our listeners. We have the best
Yeah, we
listeners.
do. I wanted to explain the
There it is, guys.
Yeah, on the page here we have the Exo Trainers.
You're probably the only place in the world you'll ever see an Exo Trainer is if you come to 730
studio.
Indian Rocks Road,
Yeah.
because those were
Actually,
developed by scientists at NASA, right?
Well, he worked. We did some demonstrations for NASA and stuff. So these are, you sit inside them and they work the arms and legs too. Wanted to also update you on Primal Edge, of course. The shipment hasn't arrived yet. It's supposed to arrive today with FedEx. We're going to shoot a little commercial later on, so we'll have it definitely up and running by next Friday. We'll have all the links and everything together. They're working on the website to do that. So it's been. It's a fun process, but it takes a lot of time to get it done. So that's a little bit about me. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu really changed my life. I started that almost 8 years ago. Became a black belt. Met so many cool people that again helped me shape the person I am, and it really kept me focused on remaining healthy. Because when you get on the mat and do the things that we do for jiu-jitsu, it really shows you how out of shape you are when you start the process. And then at my age, I have to spend as much time kind of rehabbing myself and getting ready for this whole process as I do on the mats, sparring, learning the techniques and fighting. So it's a big commitment. It's kind of like dancing. Dancers told me a long time ago when I was, involved in dancing, is that you have to stretch a lot and do those things to prepare yourself. Because I think dancing is probably one of the hardest things to do. You're doing it on a hard surface. What these people go through in dancing is the most remarkable thing, and that dancing is inside of everybody. I mean, that's the inspiration. That's where all our imagination, I think, came from in the beginning. So one of the first activities that we did was expressive. The voice, of course, but also the physical part of dancing. So dancing has become, it's that way for all human beings, expressing yourself through movement, no matter what that movement is. They thought we were crazy in the 50s doing the jerk and all those things that Elvis was doing.
About that.
Yeah, all these things, and now the kids are doing it a lot different, and we say, that's crap stuff, but it's really beautiful stuff. It's part of expression, and it's a blessing that we have as human beings. And the last thing I wanted to say, I have my own version of religion and stuff like that, and I think that, I don't think there was a beginning. I think everything was always here, and there was never an end. If there is a God, that type of thing, it's everything to us. And I think the way our lives are, I kind of envision myself like after this life, I'm kind of floating around, and I kind of like a God seeing everything, but it's boring. So I see, there's somebody being born there. Maybe I'll
slip in there.
Slip in there for a little lifetime, and that's nothing.
I'll learn something new.
Because if we're being omnipresent, then our lives are so long. Then we like to go to Disney World. We go into that life for 70 years. So I'm in this life right now. I'm here 70 years. Hopefully there's another 70.
Yeah,
but that's the way I kind of look at it.
What are you going to do for the next half of your life?
I'm going to do whatever I can to be adventurous and get out there, stick my neck out, and I think good things will happen.
And you're my hero.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot for sharing my birthday. I really appreciate it, folks, and we'll get back to normal next week. And
we'll have some Primal Edge so we can all
celebrate
have that
life, will you? That's what I'm going to do today.
Yeah, we're going to do it tonight.
Yes, we are.
Have a great week, guys.
Thanks, folks.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.